fight. If you're ejecting the AD carry out of that play, then all of a sudden it's looking a lot better for you. We are now onto the Rift here for the Fukuoka SoftBank HAWKS Gaming. Got to get the full name in once every stream. Versus Sengoku Gaming. Currently undefeated here on the red side, looking to extend their lead at the top of the table.
I'm glad you trust yourself, because I feel like I'd mess up the pronunciation of Fukuoka if I tried that without hearing it first. So I appreciate that. Thank you for saving my what little reputation I have left. As we are just going to have sort of standardized. Well, I was going to say it was standardized, but we've got some bush sharing, because sharing is caring. We've all got to show a little bit of enjoyment here. Potentially might be looking onto Dasher here, but it might just be this delayed invade towards the bot side. We might get a little bit of vertical jungling happening in this one.
I mean, potentially. Blank soloing his blue buff, so we'll be just fine there. Powers dropping a ward. Kanatsu spotting out that once isn't on his own red buff, and I think that Sengoku may have been snuffed out on this play as the missing pings go through, and Blank is going to be able to go into that sort of jungling on opposite sides of the map.
Yeah, weirdly, I think I actually prefer this more for the side of the Hawks, though. I feel as though having that poppy into the Gragas on the top side, maybe mitigating the ability to get away with the body slam dash as an escape, is going to be a lot more beneficial than trying to engage onto this bottom side, because when you look at the options here for Sengoku, they don't actually have the greatest engage tools to start a gank on the bottom side. They're trying to play into the Nautilus with this Renata, and if you're not hitting Flash W from the Viego, you're not really going to find too much. So it will be, I think, a little bit more beneficial, as I said, for the SoftBank HAWKS, but we will need to see which junglers can utilize this new pathing situation to be more beneficial for their team.
And I like that we've got Blank versus Once in this scenario, because we've already talked about Once being possibly the best performing jungler this split so far, and obviously Blank is a name that carries so much weight, who has so much experience, and when you are in these scenarios where pathing becomes a little bit trickier, strong experience can be really beneficial in securing you some of these advantages in the early game, as Jet is going forward for short trade onto Dasher, but does actually have the bone plating on the Corki, so not taking too much damage.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart decision as well from Dasher, to make sure that you aren't exactly going to be worrying about getting poked from Jet, so you're going to be able to mitigate that initial all-in, that initial fight that can break out as Once, trying to secure and protect that red buff, which would create a triple buff there for the Viego. So nice little advantage gained there. Might be at the loss of double Scuttle Crab though, so Blake's going to get a little bit of revenge on that one.
Yeah, but I mean, the Scuttle Crabs aren't as impactful as they used to be. NT and Honey actually moving over to try and secure this one.
Yeah, but might get caught for it.
Oh, that's a hook landing onto NT. Flash stun into the wall. Chompers go down, but they're not in the right place. Marble will flash over to secure the kill onto NT, but that bailout, he might be able to outlast this. No, not quite enough damage as Reiner flashes over the wall. Here comes Once, though. Honey continuing to play it out, and now the Fukuoka SoftBank HAWKS find themselves on the wrong side of the rift. Reiner's not going to be able to secure and execute here. Once flashing forward to secure the kill.
Yeah, but we got a little bit more action here. Look at the mid versus jungle matchup between Blank and Jet. Could be a little bit scary. I don't think Jet's going to find too much more, though.
Still going forward, though, with those change lashes. Is going to find Dash, who has no mana on the Corki. The stun has been interrupted. Flash still available, and uses it to take out that jungler. Dash is going to be forced to flash away. But madness, honestly, coming through in the early stages of this game.
Yeah, but the madness is working out for the side of Sengoku. They're the ones who are going to be up 3-2 in the kill score. They get themselves plenty of kills overall. They're going to be happy with that little bit of gold influx. The crazy thing is, as well, which I will discuss in a second, but we're going to go to the replay here, is it makes so much sense here from Sengoku. They wanted to try this, but unfortunately, the jungler's pathing down. It's just a 2v3. Chompers don't go off in time, but it is going to be the easy pickup here for the SoftBank HAWKS. Maybe Marble's going to easily pick up plenty of damage to give that one to Reiner, and then it's just a case of Honey trying to reach that last auto, maybe get that trade. Does barely get it, credit to them. And at that point, though, your Nautilus is in a rock and a hard place, and Viego will happily stab that one for another one. But credit to Jet knowing the limits of this champion here on the Silas. We have, as we said, played a lot of different champions, so sometimes that knowledge on all of them individually isn't quite there, but the aggression to go for that 1v2, realizing Dasher has no mana, and beautifully punishing it.
And that's why Jet was the, one of the most valuable players in Spring, our all-pro and #1 mid laner, because he does do things like that. He knows the limits of these champions just a little bit better than everyone else. However, he is down pretty significantly in terms of CS in this mid lane. Dasher, almost up 20.
Yeah, we're seeing a similar story here on the top side for Kinatsu and Paz as well. So it's a nice advantage here being generated for the side of the Hawks. At the very least, this has helped to mitigate that kill difference, and in fact has given them a 500 gold lead off the back of it. So these lanes in isolation are able to happily farm it out, happily scale up to the point where they can be quite relevant in the later stages.
And this is the thing about the Hawks, is like, these aren't individually bad players. When this roster was announced at the start of the spring split, no one thought that they'd be finishing 6th simply because of how many good players they do have. And it's nice to see that they're not losing in these lanes. And that's sort of a testament to how good these players are. The issues have been in terms of coordination. As we start getting multiple members of Hawks all on the same screen as each other, doesn't look quite as clean, and I think that was really encapsulated by that play in the bot lane. Liner, that's a hook that you really don't want to be taking, buddy, as most of your health bar is gone.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tough trading scenario when you have given that kill over to the Ezreal, as well as the fact that obviously Renata can help to sort of protect herself as well as her carry with the extra little bit of damage. Plus that Guardian always going to help out too. I think it's really important, as you say, that the Hawks are a team that potential has always been there. It's never been in doubt when you look at the names, but it's just that last little step that hasn't come to fruition, as Sengoku, once it's being a little bit aggressive here, does have laners moving to help protect, so could look for this, but the scary Poppy with the hammer is quite intimidating.
Yeah, the base damages on that champ are honestly not okay. To be perfectly honest, I think there was a point where the rune of choice in jungle was electrocute on her, just because it meant that you could actually one-shot people in the early stages of the game.
I still know some people that run the Predator as well, just purely so that you can run people down.
It's a crazy pick, and obviously not being piloted by Steel in this game, who is the resident Poppy jungle in the LJL, actually becoming a bit of a notorious pick for this region. Honey pushing down in this bot side, hasn't been able to claim too many advantages for himself outside of that kill. Sengoku clearing out vision, maybe looking at this Drake.
Yeah, it'd definitely be nice to pick that one up a little bit early on, give yourself a little bit of those extra resistances. Too big. To me, I'd actually be interested to see whether or not the Hawks will try to move towards that Herald relatively soon. Maybe they can look to make a lane swap, move their AD carry towards the mid lane, their support obviously towards that Herald, and play for that one, because the ability to snowball this mid lane matchup, get Dasher a couple more plates, get that Corki faster to that poke build's break point, could potentially be very large in the grand scheme of the mid-jungle matchup, and then obviously influencing the side lanes afterwards. So to me, I would like to see that rotation come through, but instead we're just going to see Marble go back towards that bottom side.
I think the sooner that you can make your matchup against Jet non-interactive, the better.
Yeah.
Because this guy is just absolutely cracked. Hawk's going to be using that mid-shove, though, to take out this Drake. Actually pretty late on the board, and this will open up once to start up that Herald on the other side of the map.
Yeah, the cool thing is, though, is that you could potentially look at some sort of package-based counterplay to this play, although Dasher doesn't have the teleport available, so it is timed pretty well here from Sengoku, so they will be able to do this without any major contest, and now it sort of flips the script a little bit here, because you create a dynamic now where if this goes towards that bottom side, if it goes towards that mid lane to get those plates, suddenly you have kill threat in both of these lanes, because either of them would have enough of an item advantage to just pressure the other one essentially out of lane. These Mystic shots already hurt because of that Sheen a little bit, and when you give himself a little bit more gold, that will really start to snowball out of control. Same with Jet being able to potentially just jump onto the opposition and play with absolute confidence here in that 1v1 matchup.
Yeah, confidence is key. Confidence is key. That's kind of been the mantra for today. When you're willing to really take it to your opponent, that's when you can find a lot of your successes. This is been one of our more bloody games in terms of the early stages, but still a little bit cagey. Kinatsu on this Gwen pick, something that can be a bit more proactive than the Kayle, has secured a pretty decent laning advantage against Paz. Is going to be pretty scary in that side lane.
Yeah, Paz will still hit a little bit hard, but yeah, Kinatsu happily going to be the bully, be the wave controller of the two, be the one in complete control in general. However, as I said before, Paz is happy to trade, and if we get some jungle attention potentially towards that top side, don't be surprised if that one results in a potential easy pickup, because right now the name of the game for Sengoku is where am I going to drop that Herald? You know, we're at 11, coming up to 11 minutes here. We've got to make sure that we're dropping it A, before it expires, and B, before those plates become redundant, shall we say. So I want to see Sengoku now take that next step. As a team, they've looked fantastic in the last 2 games. I just want to see them start to prepare a play in advance, prep the waves, move as a team to guarantee themselves a 100% play, and slowly snowball the game, because that is a consistent way of getting these wins when we go further and further into the season.
Yeah, you play clean, you play collected, you play with a little bit of calm, and you're generally going to find yourself coming out on top more often than not. Unfortunately for Sengoku, not too many of these plates have fallen down. I believe that's actually the first of the game in favor of Paz in this top side, so you're not going to be getting any full takedowns of towers, which don't feel great, but the gold injection in itself is still alright. Liner thrown into blank there, and Sengoku might be looking for an engage, as Jet has also roamed over from the mid lane. Don't want to go too far deep into the Hawks jungle, though.
Yeah, there's a little bit of potential fear here. You don't want to obviously throw this game off of a little play. Potentially could have looked for that, but didn't know where the enemy jungler was. Might have been worried about some potential fighting, or apologies. Didn't know the movement of the AD carrier's position. It could have been a little bit rough, but at the end of the day, it's just one of those where they're playing a little bit cautiously, but a little bit carefully, and it's a sign I think we have of the LJL as a region, right? If you're not certain on a play, people will tend to err on the side of caution. They'll be a little bit slower, and obviously that can be a beneficial in some situations. It can also be a bit of a hindrance as well to your own tempo, and I think we are seeing maybe a little bit of that coming to fruition here, as the team instead wanting to play slow and play towards that Hextech Drake.
Blank. It's going to get pulled back with that handshake from NT, but no further follow-up. Still a minute and a half until this Drake is actually going to be on the table, as NT and once blast coning over the wall. They were spotted going for that. That zap is going to reveal that Hawks had the information. Quite risky going for these dives, especially when you don't have a big tank that can withstand a lot of damage. But yeah, moving over the map. Dasher has the package as well. Either team wants to go for this.
Yeah, the only issue with this package is that it's slightly early. Picked it up, I believe, 104 on timer, so won't have it for the exact spawn of this dragon. If the Herald does crash, we're not going to be able to see that package now for the next neutral objective. So Dasher may have actually gone with a little bit of a misplay here on that one. And we'll need to see whether or not the SoftBank HAWKS are able to get themselves a fight before the dragon, or if that would just be entirely wasted.
And this is Sengoku kind of getting advantages at the moment by just being there, by just applying pressure in the right zones. This is something that we saw against DFM. Really, really low kill game, but Sengoku were always the team that were kind of in control. Their rotations around the map are incredibly clean, and that's really what's been propelling them towards a lot of these victories. Jet taking a fair bit of damage in the mid lane. Dasher is feeling a lot better about this matchup as it stands.
Yeah, it definitely feels as though, as Paz gets the ulti forced out, which is obviously not ideal in that top matchup. It feels as though, in terms of the rotation, Sengoku are moving first. However, the CS advantage being accrued here in both the top and the mid lane shouldn't be understated, right? There is still decent scaling coming through, as Paz might be in trouble.
Yeah, Needlework going to force out the flash from the Gragas. Blank was waiting in the wings, so yeah, absolutely have to burn that summoner spell. But with the jungler on the top side of the map, that is going to open up the opportunity for Sengoku to start up this Hextech Drake. Would just be their first dragon of the game, so not too impactful in terms of any stacking shenanigans, but Hextech Drake actually pretty good just to pick that up for the bonus ability haste and that attack speed.
Yeah, and Dash didn't get a whole lot of value out of that package, as instead tried to roam up, but it was a little bit too late. Instead, we get that dragon given over, and we're starting to get those first items coming through. It is going to be that Night Harvester burst-based build over for Paz, and interestingly enough, we're not going to see the Everfrost. Instead, it's going to be that Leandri's pickup here for the side of Jet. So more of that sort of tank shredding ability, I guess, the poke that can come through into fruition. It's an interesting one to go down. Obviously going to help a little bit more against the Poppy, but not going to give you that much sort of setup tools for the rest of the team in a composition that's already lacking a little bit in terms of engage CC.
Yeah, a lot of the onus is going to be going onto once and Paz now, and I mean, it's not that I don't trust these guys, two of our top performers so far from the start of the split, but you want as many options as possible when you are looking for these fights.
I think in general, when you're looking at Viego W as your as one of your primary tools of engage, it's one of those where it's like, okay, guys, I promise I'm gonna smurf, but I really hope they mess up. It's like one of those. So it can work. Don't get me wrong. Like I've seen it in my solo queue enough times. Not onto me, I promise. But it's definitely one that you don't want to initially rely on, right? So Paz is going to have to be that primary engager, and with this more defensive build, it's much harder to position much squishier build rather. It's much harder to position aggressively because you can't afford to take as much damage moving into a throwing position. You're going to have to instead look for these flanks, look for these little pockets of vision to try and throw that cast as your initial engage, because realistically, until we get something like a Zonya's or get something like a Fimbulwinter or something along those lines to help give you some sort of stats, if you jump in on the Gragas, you are trading your life for that engage.
I mean, the best defense is a good offense. So if you're one-shotting Marble or Dasher, then I think you feel pretty good about going for a bit of a more damage skew build. One's going to be summoning that Herald in the mid lane. Not sure if that's going to be able to take out this tower. May just have enough damage.
I think it goes. I think it's dead. I should go at one shot, I believe. There we go. Nice. But yeah, we've got more of a big bursty boy than a big beefy boy in the top side. Yeah. So we will need to, obviously, that has its ramifications one way or the other. On the subject of ramifications, we've got that Muramana now being sort of stacked up here for the side of Dasher. Happily scaling it is going to be that ulti poke Corki that we've seen so much of for about half a year. It hurts.
It does hurt. Will be delayed though because of that Hex Drinker in inventory, so it's going to take a little bit of time before we see those rockets doing half of someone's HP. Honey though has now completed that Manamune and is a lot closer to actually transforming that into the Muramana, so the Ezreal really starting to spike now. Yeah,
Ezreal known for his 2-item spike for the last couple of years. Definitely a champion that will be taking over, and in the right time as well, right? Drake number 3 is usually a massive fighting and contesting, because in most situations that would potentially be the Soul Point Dragon, right? In this situation, not so much, and could have potentially been, and I think it is a little bit unfortunate. But what isn't unfortunate is this teleport coming through.
Yeah, once has already taken, well, pretty much most of his health bar. Kinatsu on the way, Super Mega Death Rockets! Not quite in range. Paz is going to be teleporting into the bot lane, dissuading the play. Neither team finds anything.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out there for the side of the Hawks, but at the very least they do get the teleport for teleport trades, so you are getting at least sort of paid back what you used, and you did also get obviously a little bit of pressure applied from that. However, the tower now going to fall in the bot side for Sengoku, so they are the ones who ultimately do end up winning out on the play. On top of that, they're the ones who now are able to get the mid prior, so they can set up the vision for this crucial dragon.
Yeah, it's a very, very strange game state. Again, finding advantages by not getting kills, by just being in the right place at the right time, and Jet teleporting up into this top side. Well, he's been being beat down on by this Corki, but should be alright to hold the tower, unless Blank makes his life a little bit more difficult. NT is going to be the focus, though, instead. Combos of the ultimates and Dasher with the kill.
It's just too easy there. The CC chain is beautiful. It's 2 ultis blown, but realistically speaking, you're happy to take that one if you are a fan of the Hawks. They need to get everything that they could possibly get, and it also means now that Jet has to show that bit of respect, because you now know that these two are in the top side. You know that you can get dived, and that means you know you're going to have to go at this tower, so that's going to be even more gold influx potentially, if not a little bit of chunk going down onto it.
Yeah. Just going to be the chunk on the tower for now. The Hawks yet to pick up one of those structures, as Drake is spawning onto the Rift, and Sengoku are the ones that are going to be able to take that one away.
Yeah, only problem with that play obviously being that those ults are now on cooldown, right? So you can't easily now contest. It does mean that you can finally resync your package timer, as we do get fighting here between Blank and Jet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Silas is going to be able to 1v3, forcing the flash away. Beautiful stuff there, Reiner. You take that trade every day of your life.
I mean, Blank looked like he was winning, to be honest with you. The Poppy looked like it was hitting different on that one. And on the subject of hitting different, goodbye, Corki. You can fly a little bit higher than normal. As the Keeper's Verdict going to knock him for 6. And it does, inevitably delay that top tower falling as well. However, Jet might be getting baited a little bit here because of that safety.
Yeah, using all those cooldowns, the Steadfast Presence secures another kill for Dasher. 2-0 now on the Corki, and those itemization spikes that have been delayed by the Hex Drinker looking a little bit closer.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that Dasher is on the team of the Poppy player, because everyone knows that the other team ain't getting any dashes. Unfortunately, there for Jet does get sort of CC'd and locked up, and I've got to say, I really love this extra buy as well for the side of Dasher. I feel like into the composition from the side of Sengoku, you're getting value from the Gragas, you're getting value from the Silas, you're also getting value from Ezreal, who does do a decent amount of magic damage as well. So it makes a lot of sense to pick that one up a little bit early for that safety, but now we're seeing 2 items come through, and interestingly enough, it's going to be a little bit of a different build. We're not seeing that Ludens that has come through in the past. Instead, this Leandrius is going to shred a little bit better. Obviously going to help against some of these players, but Blank finding ones, I think.
Dasher?
Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one. I think we're all just playing a little bit game of chicken and no one's winning.
I mean, happy enough to walk into melee range of a Viego, so...
asserting dominance, really.
Absolutely. Actually, interesting that we're touching on once now, because that is a Balmy Cinder in inventory, which would imply to me that this Viego is going towards something possibly like a Frostfire Gauntlet. That's not really something I've seen before.
I mean, it's still better than the Mikhail's Viego I saw earlier today.
Oh, come on, man. You can't do him like that.
Oh, I can, and I will. Anyone who needs to watch that VOD back, explain that to me, because I don't understand. I'm not a 5-head, to be fair. But anyway, I think it's okay, honestly, to go this sort of tanky Viego build. You're realistically not required to deal as much damage as you otherwise would be on the champion, because you have so many other carries, given Gragas' build path as well. It enables you to be a little bit more annoying onto this backline, and your base damage is usually enough to get through. And realistically, Viego build doesn't matter that much anyway, because once you change, you're going to take anyone else's items regardless. True. So you can build literally whatever you want. AP Viego, why not? Why not? Dark main it.
That is a name that I've not heard in a while.
He still makes some fantastic stuff.
Is he still doing it?
He does. He's an absolute. He's a legend, that man. Anyway, on the subject of legendary, Honey looking for a little bit of poke. Might find an engage here.
Yeah, Reiner not quite caught by the Spectral Maw though, so able to Spider Nautilus himself away. I feel like the slower pace of this game has to be favouring Hawks, though. They're the ones with the Jinx, they're the one with the Corki, and the Gwen as well. You've got some scaling on the side of Sengoku, but in a straight-up 5v5, I feel like the longer it goes, the better the Hawks are feeling.
I also think that outside of the 5v5 environment, they have more options as far as win conditions are concerned, right? Because whilst you do have that potential for the team fighting, that realistically it can go wrong, right? You've got that potential of the Renata spinning it around, because obviously if Jinx or Gwen are hitting the rest of your team, you're going to take some hits from that.
Yeah.
They do also have that Gwen in the top side, as you said, into this Gragas. I feel like the Gwen will happily be able to scale into that side lane too. So if things aren't working out those team fights, you can move towards that side lane. You can move towards a 1-3-1, maybe have the Corki pivot and sort of hover between lanes as a pseudo 1-4 type situation with the package. You know, you have that option and flexibility. So I would definitely agree with you that I think that the Hawks do have that late game option to go towards, as well as just the team fighting that their comp is so well built for.
The small wrinkle on that, though, is that Sengoku are a damn good team. And they're a damn good team when they shouldn't be in a lot
They're
of
2-0 for a reason, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, well, and they took DFM to 5 games in last split's final for a reason. It's a team that has a lot of tenacity and an ability to fight back in scenarios where they maybe wouldn't be favored. And one of the perennial issues we've had with the Hawks is their coordination hasn't quite been there at the key moments. I wonder if that's something that Sengoku are going to be able to exploit.
Yeah, the gold is exactly where you want it to be as well. It's on these carries. It's on Jet, it's on Honey, and it's on Once. If you wanted the damage dealers to have it, that's exactly who you want to get it. The real question here, though, is will they be able to find the right engage with this package available now for Dasher? It's going to be up to Protect. They could just draw a line in the sand, quite literally, made of phosphorus.
Ooh, that was a lot of damage being to the Sengoku members with that big one. So it'd be Soul Point if Once is able to get into the pit and steal this one away. It doesn't appear likely. Keeper's Verdict not hitting onto anyone actually.
Dasher?
14 HP, no! Jet somehow steals the Drake. The hostile takeover will still come through as Dasher is knocked up with that ultimate and the Silas waiting in the wings on the backside. Low HP bars for the Hawks. In they dive. The Heartseeker strike. And it's heartbreak for the Hawks. As Sengoku are going to be able to take over this fight. But no, Kinatsu still doing the damage. But he's going to be falling down. Blank jumps over the wall. But the waiting arms of Paz will greet him. The Poppy's strong, but I'm not sure she's going to be able to win out this fight. Actually, doing a fair bit of damage. But here comes Jet to clean it up. Sengoku are just too damn good.
And the wings have been clipped inside of the Jets. It's beautiful stuff there from the side of Sengoku. They're going to have... sorry, blah, 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 blah. Words. Sengoku happily cleaned that one up. But the steal from Jet, I have no idea how you can possibly get in and get this one. I mean, Jet just somehow, some way, over the wall, Jet. That's ridiculous. Oh my word, okay. I thought the package from Dasher would be enough to dissuade the team fight, but at this point the health bars are just too low. There's nothing more that can really be done, and the True Shot Barrage just helps to incentivize that engage as Jet. A little bit of stopwatch action as once, and Paz happily find a beautiful engage, and there's just nothing more that can be done. They're routed, they're running, and unfortunately, it's going to be all Sengoku in this one. Blank, you're still well. The Poppy is tanky, the Poppy deals damage, sure, but unfortunately, a 1v4 at this point in the game is just not on the cards. It was an easy cleanup there from Sengoku.
And what did we say? Sengoku somehow find a way to win fights that maybe they shouldn't. And now they got themselves a gold lead, minor though it may be. They've got themselves a soul point. This Ezreal is scaling. This Silas was indomitable in that fight. And once, with that beautiful Heartseeker onto the backline, really able to tear it up. Now my eyes are on Kinatsu, especially on this sideline. Justing level 16 on the Gwen. What can they do to bring this game back for the Hawks?
Well, they can potentially have to teleport over to this Baron because it's being started up here by Sengoku. They're pulling the trigger, and here does come the double teleport. I think you can just dissuade this. Just get out.
Look at the flags. Oh, no. They've got nowhere to go. Paz throws out the cask. Adds bopping actually away the Ezreal. He's not going to be joining this fight as Jet is on the other side. Once is the first to go down, and maybe the Hawks can actually play this one out. Sengoku don't want to commit to a full engage. The poke is still landing. Not back away.
Yeah, it was a nice turnaround there. Nice flank from Paz. Was looking to see if they could get that big winning fight, but the Keeper's Verdict was enough to send Honey flying, creating a temporary 4v5. Luckily, for the side of the Hawks, using that 4v5, they were able to pick up at least one kill onto once. They could be the ones potentially to look towards this Baron, but you have to remember, they don't have teleports available for either of their solo laners because of that play.
Yeah, they do have that double AD carry, though, so your Baron DPS is pretty good, especially with the Gwen as well, and this could have gone so wrong for the Hawks. Sengoku collapsing from multiple angles, but they can't quite make it stick.
Yeah, the cask doesn't actually send anyone far enough, and Blank is able to catch the one. From there, they're able to slowly but surely group up and defend as they push out the invaders from the opposition. Luckily able to stall it out, luckily able to take it away, and skillfully able to move around that potential sort of deathly flank from Paz. The cask barely off the mark.
And a crucial cooldown, a crucial item, was this Zhonya's Hourglass for Liner. Being able to buy an extra 2.5 seconds on that Nautilus when you've got stuff like the Viego that wants to get a reset in these fights is oh so pivotal. Sengoku not dissuaded though. They are going to be starting up this Baron, and there is no vision for the Hawks. This is going down way too quickly. No steal is going to come through. The Gragas knocked over the skies, and Jet is on the back line. Goes Golden himself, buying as much time as he possibly can, but he's not going to be able to heal up in time. The bailout will not bail out the Sengoku mid laner, and Hawks are able to grab at least an exit kill.
Yeah, and again, Blank finds a fantastic usage of the Keeper's Verdict to at least get one away from the fight, create that 4v5. This seems to be the recipe for success for the Hawks, but unfortunately, it's only going to be a minor success because that Baron buff still goes over to all of these Sengoku members except for Jet. It's plenty of them with it. And yes, you don't have the Silas split push, sure, but you're still going to be down 2k. And with this Ocean spawning, you've got to imagine it's going to be really hard to get priority and even get into the pit.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about Jet in these fights, diving onto the back line. I want to take a look at Honey. Quietly farmed up 300 CS, 4 items on this Ezreal compared to only 2 on Marble, really trying to show what a top-tier AD carry in the LJL looks like. The Hawks will now start up this Drake. If Sengoku can secure it, if they can steal it again, That'd be soul points, so much sustained liner going forward.
Oh.
Oh my god, it's happened again! This time once is the one committing larceny, and it's Sengoku committing homicide to the Hawks. You can't conserve these birds. Another massive fight.
Yeah, someone called Peter, because this one is not looking ideal. It's going to be another one picked up. Dasher's got nowhere to go. Oh, it looks so nice. You got yourself that little bit of resurrection, but that ain't going to last for too long. Goodbye, my friend. Once picks that one up, and it's just a little bit too easy here for Sengoku. They're happily stealing everything. Like thieves in the night, they'll take away your towers, they'll take away your money, and they'll take away your life.
Yeah, they might even take your Nexus, as they are not stopping this push. Still waiting multiple seconds for the carries of the Hawks to respawn. Blank is going to be up in a few seconds. Linery is already on the table. But look at that. Hostile takeover has been thrown out. The keeper's verdict doesn't land onto anybody. And I'm sorry, Hawks. It looked damn good for you in the early game. But Sengoku are just too good.
I mean, no